Hey, what's up guys? My name is Henry, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up Amplify in an iOS project. So recently I've just been waiting on Amazon support to get back to an issue I've had with AWS, and I've just been waiting around, so I have nothing else to do, so I decided to just go ahead and help you guys get started with Amplify here. I've been working a lot with Amplify and iOS. You've got all these other platforms with iOS also, but just quick rundown if you don't know what Amplify is. It's a really easy way to get your application started and running with an AWS backend, so it's really fast. It's a good connector, relatively fast, and with iOS it's pretty easy to get it set up. So today that's what I'm going to be showing you guys how to do, because I've been working with Amplify a lot. So let's get started. So to integrate Amplify into your iOS project, we first need to make sure we have all these prerequisites installed: Node.js, XCODE, CocoaPods, and Amplify CLI. You can easily install these by going to those links, which I will include in the description below. And then XCODE you should have installed. If you don't, it's in the App Store. Just look up App Store, and then it's going to be in your App Store here. Just look up XCODE. So let's go there, and XCODE's right there. So just download it there. It's a really big download, so make sure you allocate a lot of time for that. We have Amplify CLI here, so once you install all this other stuff, we can install Amplify. Just go to your terminal, or you can look up terminal. Oh, by the way, to pull up this search bar, just do a command space, by the way. So pull up the terminal, and then just throw in that command, and then, oh, okay, well, I didn't mean to click that, but I guess I'm reinstalling it. Yeah, I already have it installed, so actually it's not going to reinstall. It's just going to check to make sure there's no updates or anything. But yeah, you just throw that command in the terminal and then press enter. This stuff happens. You might see something different, but yeah, I'll just let that go in the background. Yeah, so that's installing, and then yep. So once we have all that installed, we're actually ready to go with an iOS application. So what we want to do is to first, let's set up our application. So let's go to XCODE, open up XCODE, and then go to new and new project. I'm going to call this my test proj. Oops, my bad. Let's click on app first. Next, test proj. And then just enter your regular team information, your organization identifier. Your organization identifier, I mean, you can pretty much put anything you want there, but make sure it's kind of unique to yourself so that Apple can identify it if you ever decide to put it in the App Store. But if it's just your test project, doesn't really matter. And for these, we'll just keep that all the same. Click on next, and then create the project. So okay, yeah, we have the project created now. So we'll actually just close that out because that's all we needed for now. Yeah, let's initialize our pod file. Oops, I just cut that out. My bad. Let's initiate our pod file. So what you want to do is you want to navigate to that project we just created. So make sure you keep note of where that project is. I know exactly where my project is, so it's in my projects folder there. So we use CD to change our directory and navigate to our project folder. If you want, you can click on LS, and then it shows you the items inside that you can CD into. So you can CD into test project, for example, right there. But I'm already in it, so I don't need to do that. So we're in our test project folder. We're in our main root folder there. So here we can do our pod init. I'm just going to skip that because I don't like that command. Or I want to use amplify init instead. I don't like that one. So we've initialized our pod with pod init, and then let's just open our pod file right there. So since we did pod init, our pod file will be created. And then we want to copy these pods. So what a pod file is, by the way, if you didn't know, it's basically for a way for you to integrate other people's repositories and their code into your project, so that it's easier to kind of integrate it into your project. So in this case, we're downloading kind of Amplify into our project through pods, and it's pretty standard, so everyone uses pods pretty much. So we're in pod file, and then yep, I just closed that down because it saves by itself. We're gonna do our pod install since we haven't installed it yet. We just kind of told pods, hey, we want to install these files, but we haven't done it yet. So now we actually have to do it with this command, which is pod install repo-update. We'll just throw that in there, and then that's gonna do some work in the background. So yeah, you can see up here we did our npm install for our Amplify app there, and then it completed, successfully installed. Cool. And then here we're downloading our pod and installing it into our project. Now if we do ls, you can see there's a lot more files. And one thing I want to note, when you use pods, it's going to generate this new file called testproj.xc workspace. This is the one that we want to navigate to our file from, so don't use this one to go into your project. If you open up XCODE and then you're in the home screen, don't click on it because it's going to open the project through this one. We want to open the project through this link. So we can do that by just going to testproj.workspace right there. We can open it that way. So let's go ahead and open that. Let's go back to our documentation here. Okay, so now that you have Amplify installed, you want to do amplify configure, and this is going to take you through a bunch of steps to kind of configure your Amplify account, and it might even prompt you to create an AWS account, which is what you want to do eventually if you want to integrate this project into your project anyways. So yeah, just go ahead and go through the Amplify configure everything, set your permissions. It's pretty straightforward. They kind of tell you exactly what you need. You might have to run through it a few times just because there's some things that might trip you up, but it's pretty straightforward, honestly. You just do Amplify configure and then create some administrator roles, and you're all good there. So let's pretend you did all that, Amplify configure, and let me know if you need any help with that, by the way. Just post in the comments below. So let's pretend that we've done all our Amplify configure and everything. We're good there. Next, we want to do Amplify init. Now this is actually going to initialize your project in the cloud with Amplify. So let's go ahead and do that, Amplify init. So this is actually starting the real Amplify project in the cloud. So that might take a while. Yeah. So let's enter a name for a project, testproj, dev, sure. Default editor, I don't really know like how to do this because I have Visual Studio Code on my Mac, but like it doesn't work. And it's probably something with pathing, but it doesn't really matter. You can choose anything you want, but not actually use it. So choose the type of app you're building. We're using iOS. Yeah, I just never took the time to figure this out yet. So do you want to use an AWS profile? So yeah, these profiles, they would have come from if you did the Amplify configure. So I'm going to say yes because I have some AWS profiles that I can use. So we have that. And then it's just going to do a bunch of Amplify stuff and, make the project for you in your backend. So if you go to AWS AppSync, you can probably find your project there once that command's done. So while that's running, let's go ahead and integrate it into our app. We want to take these two commands here and go into our app delegate. So open up your project, make sure you open it through that workspace. And we're going to go to app delegate and import Amplify and AmplifyPlugins. So we're going to have that, and then we want to copy this and throw this into our did finish launching with options. And basically what this does is it says, hey, Amplify exists in our project, make sure you use it. And then you're probably going to get this Amplify models error right there. And this is basically because we don't have any models yet. We don't have our GraphQL schema generated yet, so we're going to generate that soon. So don't worry about that. Yep, you can enable logging if you want right here. So, I mean, I don't really need it, but if you want to, you can. Start an Amplify logging level. This is going to give you like an info logging level, or you can just, get some debug logging levels, or you can do verbose for everything. I don't really need that, so I'm just going to remove that. But if you want to see everything that's happening in the back end, you can do that. So yeah, we have that ready to go. Our Amplify has been initialized in the back end there. So let's go ahead and build our project to see what kind of juicy errors we get. I built the project by using Command R, by the way, if you weren't familiar with Xcode too much. So I use Command R. Okay, so we have our first juicy error, which is still the Amplify models one. So actually, I'm just gonna comment all that out, or just, yeah, comment all that out. And that's commented out by Command / by the way. I'm just gonna change this to an iPhone 11. Yeah, and you can change this to, you know, whatever phone you want, or iPad or whatever. So while that's running, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and come back to our terminal here, and I'm going to do amplify push, because we've initialized amplify and then all the backend stuff, but we actually want to push this stuff too. So let's see and push to the backend. So let's see if there's anything we need to push there. Let's see if that works. We might need to add something like API first before pushing, but let's see. And you can hear my computer just... Yeah, so we haven't added anything to the Amplify project, so we don't have anything to push because we already initialized the backend with Amplify in it. So let's go ahead and add API just to show you guys how it all works. So you go through Amplify, add API, and man, I've been through this setup so many times, so I'm probably going to go through it really fast. We're going to use GraphQL, API name, doesn't really matter, we use an API key. I don't know, description, DS, sure, 365 for that. Do you want to configure advanced settings? Sure. Additional auth types? No, we don't want that. Conflict detection? Sure. Auto merge? No, we do not have a GraphQL schema. Okay, here we can choose the schema that we want. So let's do a single object with fields, and you guys can choose whatever schema you want also, because that's probably not going to end up being your application, and you're going to end up editing it anyways. So yeah. Okay, do you want to edit the schema now? No, I don't. So yeah, so we're good there. And then we can probably build our application. Oh, no. Let's go ahead and do Amplify push first. So let's push our application to the cloud. And then, yeah, that's gonna take a while. So I might skip this part because I know pushing. Yes. Okay. So when you want to do when you go here, it says, do you want to generate code for your newly created GraphQL API? You say yes. We'll just make that whatever the default is, and then click yes here. Type in yes, and we'll do it two nested. Do the default there. Okay. So that should generate the files in the backend for us. So this amplify push thing, it takes a little while, so I'm just gonna skip this part and I'll see you guys soon. Okay, hey, what's up guys? I am back, and our amplify push has finally finished with no errors. And if you see an error, there's probably gonna be a bunch of red stuff, so that's not gonna be good. Let me know if you need help with that. Yeah, but I'm good here. We did our amplify push. Now we can check our amplify status by just checking out what's in there, and we theoretically should have API, which we do right there with operation no change, which is good since our cloud is now synced with our project. So now this test project is now synced with the backend. Now one thing I want to do is enter this code into our project, into a project run script, and honestly, I'm not too sure where this code went in the Amplify documentation, because I know it used to be here, but it's just not there anymore. But it kind of, kind of is important. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this. You guys can type it out, or I'll include it in the description below also. So I'm just gonna copy that. And then what we want to do is we want to go to our test project right here, this blue one, and go to build phases, and we want to add a run script phase right here. So we want to remove this and then just paste that straight in there. So once we pasted that, what we want to do is we want to move our run script phase up here above compile sources. So make sure the run script happens first before compile sources. And yeah, so we should be good there. And then let's just go ahead and uncomment that out, since theoretically and run it, theoretically our project should build the schema before running this code, which is not happening. Let's see what happens here. Let's check out the error. Let's check out what error we have. No such file or directory. Okay, so we don't have AmplifyTools. So let's go to open our pod file. And then let's go to pod. Let's just type in pod amplify/tools. I'm not sure if that's going to work, honestly. Let's do that. And then let's do pod install. Okay, so theoretically we should have AmplifyTools in there. Kind of surprised I got the name right. Yeah, let's rebuild it, see what happens. So yeah, a lot about this is you're pretty much never going to not get an error. You're always going to get an error, and I don't think I'm going to cut any of this stuff out because it's really good to know how these errors came by. So okay, yeah, you can see our Amplify config file has finally generated, so that's good. So we're still getting that Amplify models error right here, but that should go away once we generate our models here. So we have an example schema now. And this schema, by the way, is how you're going to kind of craft your backend with the modeling. So this is a to-do. So when I say type to-do, when it says type to-do here, this is like a to-do list. And you can add other models here too. So we can say like type user at model. Oops. And then we'll give it an ID. And this we're putting in that exclamation mark there, so it's not optional. We have to have that every time we have a user. We have a username maybe. We want to make sure they always have a username also. But let's say we don't really care whether or not they have an email, so we have a string with no exclamation mark. So this is not required when we're creating our user here, but if we want it, we can still put it in there. So that's just a really small tiny schema that we have configured there, and these files right here will kind of the Amplify configuration and the AWS configuration, these are the links to your backend, so we don't really want to mess with those. I'm not going to click on them because it might give some confidential information, but our Amplify tools here, it will allow you to kind of set this to true, which is model gen. So in Amplify tools here, sorry, there's like a noise out there. So our Amplify tools here will allow us to say, hey, generate those models. And this, by the way, this model gen is actually what we're missing here in Amplify models. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to true, which I already did. And then we don't need to push it again since we already pushed it over here. So we don't need to do that again. And then we're just going to run it again with Command R. And theoretically, this should go away. This error should finally go away. And then we would have Amplify configured, finally. Okay, well, it seems like it didn't go away. Let's see. Okay, but now we have our Amplify models, finally. So we run it one more time. So we didn't do anything. It just generated these models, right? So that error should finally go away. Since, see, now it is referencing. If we command click on it, jump to definition, it is finally referencing this. And our application should actually start now, theoretically. There we go. Build succeeded. So there it is, guys. You have integrated Amplify into your project and added API as well. So we do Amplify status. We have Amplify in our project, and we have API in our project. Great. This is awesome. Now you have access to all of Amazon's amazing tools here. If we just type in Amplify, we have access to all these amazing tools that we can add by just doing Amplify, add, and then whatever you want to add here. So if you want to do authentication, we can add auth, and then you have to kind of read through the documentation a little bit too, but I can show you that as well if you just ask me whatever you guys want to see. But yeah, we've integrated Amplify with one example thing, which is API there. So that's really cool, guys. And this is what I've been working on for, a few months. That's why I haven't been making that many Power Apps videos recently. But yeah, Amplify is a really cool way for us to create applications. So let's go there to the application simulator. Okay, yeah. So, our application is just a blank white screen, but it's in there. Amplify is in there. So now we can, for example, we can go to our view controller here, and maybe in our view did load, we can kind of define a user. So we type in user, and then you see you can add in their ID, username, and email, which we have created in our schema right there. So you can keep adding stuff. So you can do phone number, for example. If you want to do that as a string, maybe you want them to for sure have a, I don't know, last logged in, something like that. I don't know, maybe this is an AWS date time, whatever you want, like date time, like that, whatever you want. But just to reconfigure this model, you have to make sure your model gen is set to true. But if you keep running your applications, for example, if you're working on your actual application, you can actually just set this to false, and then this won't regenerate every time, and then your build times will be shorter as well, which is going to be much faster for development. So our user here, we can put in our string ID, I don't know, maybe some random thing, username, Henry Wong, email. That's optional, so we can actually just erase that, and then this user would still be valid because the email is not a required attribute there. So that's really cool, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and that's how you integrate Amplify into your iOS project. I'll see you guys next time, and let me know if you like these new Amplify videos. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because that helps me make more videos. I haven't had that much time to make a lot of videos recently, but yeah, that's what I've been working on, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.